guys, welcome back to my channel, and today's video is a very exciting video because it is about a topic that's very close to my heart, and that's Indian non-fiction. I think Indian booktube does not read as much Indian non-fiction as it should, like let alone read Indian books. I think Indian non-fiction should be out there, should be a part of your school curriculum as well. And in order to promote Indian non-fiction, today I'm going to be talking about the Kamaladevi Chattopadhyay NIF Book Prize, which actually started in 2018. So it's still like in its nascent stages, but the winners of the books have been, the books and the winners have been pretty interesting. So what is, okay, first thing, who is Kamaladevi Chattopadhyay? Basically, she is a pioneer of women's rights in India. She was a feminist, an author of 20 books, and also the first person to compete in elections in 1928. Now, honestly, I got to know about her through Parveen Mistri's book because I did not know about this freedom fighter, this amazing personality before. But yeah, better late than never. Like, it was at that time that I actually Googled, Kamaladevi Chattopadhyay and got a lot of search results and went into this rabbit hole. So basically, my point being that I am really happy that this prize is named after, an Indian feminist author, freedom fighter, someone who thought that women could do everything during a time when women were just not given enough rights, basically. So super interesting there, and so glad about it. And meanwhile, the NIF stands for New India Foundation. That's the organizer of this prize, and it's actually an organization which helps with education and fellowship. So you can read more about them. I'm linking the site down below with the long list, so you can go ahead and check the foundation as well as more on the prize. So also one thing is that the prize is pretty obscure on social media, I felt, because very few people know about this prize. Very few people are very inclined on this, and I got to know about it because one of my authors, some favorite author of mine, someone shared it, and that's how I got to know about it, and that's how I went into this rabbit hole. And I've been searching for this since like the past few days, trying to collate some stuff. So here it is. So let me tell you what is the prize about, right? So basically, the Kamaladevi Chattopadhyay NIF Book Prize awards outstanding works of non-fiction on any aspect of modern and contemporary India in any genre. So I think that's my jam. I think that should be everybody's jam as well, because I love reading contemporary and historical, political Indian non-fiction works. Now, it's not necessary that the authors are Indian, because in the long list you will see some international authors as well. But the book should be about India, and the book should be, about the situation or the contemporary. You get my point. Like, I didn't explain this. So that's pretty exciting. So that's what it is about the prize. Now let me tell you the past winners as well, because I did do my research. It's the first edition, in 2018. The award went to Milan Vaishnav for When Crime Pays. In 2019, it went to How India Became Democratic by Ornit Shani. And in 2020, the award was shared by two people. That's Mobilizing the Marginal by Amit Ahuja, and A Checkered Brilliance, The Many Lives of V.K. Krishna Menon by Jairam Ramesh. Oh yeah, Jairam Ramesh is a politician as well. Just remembered. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's very exciting. Also, one of the things that I kind of identified when going through the lists and the winners as well is that they do tend to be a bit left-leaning somehow. Like, this is what I realized and understood. They do have like very liberal outlook also towards the long list. So if you're a right-winger, then I'm sorry, maybe you won't like the books that have been mentioned, but I think you like a few historical books at least, because unless you're not a right-winger who twists history. Okay, cool, I did that. Anyway, so yeah, that was about the award, and those are the winners from the past years. And meanwhile, the winner gets INR 15 lakhs. So last year, since there were two winners, they had to split the 15 lakhs among themselves. But you know, the winner gets INR 15 lakhs. So that's like a good amount. Nice, good for the authors. So let's go through this year's long list because that's something that I'm very interested about. So the first book, wait, let me remember this is very important because I'm blind. Okay, so the first book that has been, so this is in alphabetical order. Okay, I don't know why is it in an alphabetical order, but the long list, the description on the website says that it's in an alphabetical order. So the first one is Muscular India, Masculinity, Mobility, and the New Middle Class by Michiel. So basically, the book basically talks about the gyms of urban India, okay? Because this is very important, right? Like in pop culture or in Indian pop culture specifically, we do have like a lot of muscular men and like 8-pack abs and stuff like that. So yeah, so basically the gyms of urban New India are intriguing spaces. While they cater largely to well-off clients, these shiny modern institutions are also vehicles of upward mobility for the trainers and specialists who work there. As they learn English, upgrade their dressing style, and try to develop a deeper understanding of the lives of their upmarket customers, they break with an older kind of masculinity represented by the pehlwans in their akharas. Equally, a gym aspires to be a safe space for women, a break from the toxic masculinity they must deal with outside its walls. Yet, the more things change, the more they remain the same. Class barriers are less permeable than they appear. The use of bodily capital to breach them is more fraught with danger than one might anticipate, and the profession is riddled with pitfalls and contradictions. Okay, so basically, the author, whose name I'm not going to pronounce again because I literally butchered it, he has spent a decade studying gyms, trainers, bodybuilders, and finds in them a new way to investigate India as he walks through homes and workspaces of these men. Yes, most of them are men, to bodybuilding competitions, also into their most intimate worlds of ambitions, desires, and struggles. An unusual study of an unusual subject. Baas reveals a fascinating world hidden in plain sight, which is super interesting. It's interesting. I'm just looking at the so I just put it to read list. So what do you think? Like, let me know about the books because I will be like putting in timestamps. So whichever book you want to go and check out, please do that. So yeah, that's that. The next one is The Death Script, Dreams and Delusions in Naxal Country by Ashutosh Bhardwaj. Oh, this is very interesting. So basically, homework for you if you do not know what the Naxal country is. It's basically the Red Corridor where we have Naxalites or like disgruntled, I would say, farmers and disgruntled laborers, like daily wage workers who take up to arms against the government because they think that the government is being unfair to them, which is normally the case. And you need to read more on it. It's not like simply black and white like I'm putting it, but a lot of like the aspect of a Naxal country is attributed to communism in India because they actually follow a lot of Karl Marx rules. Does that make sense? I hope that does. So basically, in the Death Script, Ashutosh Bhardwaj writes about his time in the Red Corridor, and he talks about the conflict and the power, the astonishing power, the human cost of such a battle. Narrated in multiple voices, the book is a creative biography of Dandakaranya that combines the rigor of journalism, the intimacy of a diary, the musings of a travelogue, and the craft of a novel. Through the prism of the Maoist insurgency, Bharadwaj meditates on the larger questions of violence and betrayal, sin, redemption, and what it means to live through and write about such experiences, making this book one of the most significant works of non-fiction to be published in recent times. Which is interesting. Want to read? Why not? It has 3.98 Okay. So it talks about Buster and Jharkhand and that particular red corridor. Interesting. So the next book in the list is India's First Dictatorship, The Emergency, 1975 to 1977 by Christophe, Jaffrelot, and Pratinav Anil. Okay, so yeah, one international author and one Indian author. So basically, this book is about the emergency which Prime Minister Indira Gandhi had imposed in June 1975, and there was a 21 month long suspension of democracy. There were a lot of stuff like in this. Now, if you've read, for people who've not read much Indian stuff, I think like one book that people generally read is Rohinton Mysteries, A Fine Balance, and that book is set in during the emergency times. So I'm interested in this. I already have a book on the emergency like back there. I do have like so you see this, that's my Indian nonfiction and nonfiction historical political collection. So cool with that. The next book here is Brand New Nation, Capitalist Dreams and Nationalist Designs in 21st Century India by Ravinder Kaur. And basically, it's the first book that examines India's mega publicity campaigns to theorize the global transformation of the nation state into an attractive investment destination. This is very interesting, but I wonder why this is only rated 3.4 on Goodreads. Yeah, ignore the background noises. It's okay. So basically, the early 21st century was an optimistic moment of global futures, and so this is mainly like a political contemporary read, which talks about how India is like advertising itself as a globalized, country, which is true. It is kind of a globalized country. I live in India, I know. But also like this attractive investment destination for global capital, because till like the 90s, India's market was pretty closed. We had a very socialist economic structure, and it's then finance minister Dr. Manmohan Singh that opened like the markets, because he just said that you don't need to have like a socialist structure where you need a license to own a TV. Yeah, so it's very, so that's why like India is trying to be more capitalist now. Like in the past 30 years, it's seen more of a capitalist growth. Purchasing power has increased a lot, and it's very I mean, I'm not saying it's nice, it's just a very interesting book, but I wonder why people have rated it bad. Okay, so the next book is, I think this is a pretty famous book, and that is India's Founding Moment, The Constitution of a Most Surprising Democracy by Madhav Khosla. And it's about how India's constitution came into being and instituted the democracy after independence from British rule. So basically, it talks more about the transition from the British rule to the self-rule of India and how the constitution came by, and it kind of analyzes the constitution from what I understand, and people are loving this book because it's 4.16 out here. So yeah. And the next book is something that's already on my to be read list, and that is Sebastian and Sons, A Brief History of Mrdangam Makers by T.M. Krishna. And this is very interesting because Mridangam is actually a very important part in Carnatic music. Carnatic music is the classical music from the south of India, and I'm also from the south of India, so yeah. But I learned Hindustani. Okay. Just FYI, putting in little tidbits there. I didn't learn Carnatic, but I did like train for like couple of years in Hindustani music, which is classical music from the north of India. So basically, it talks about Mrdangam making and about the instrument, and the history of Mrdangam making as well. I'm not sure, but this may be a very wild guess, but there is some kind of Dalit element there. Okay, ignore that. Please ignore that. But there is some element of Mridangam making, of some kind of Dalit aspect explored here. I'm not sure what. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's a wild guess. But that being said, the next book is like super interesting. It has 0 ratings. It has 0 ratings on Goodreads. It's called The Greater India Experiment, Hindutva and the Northeast. And it basically talks about the Sangh Parivar and the way the ideas and how they are demonstrating all their efforts to influence local politics and culture in Northeast India, which is super interesting. And it has zero reviews. Like, can you imagine that? So this book is by Arkotong Longkumer, and yes, he is a native of northeastern India. I'm not sure which state is he from exactly, but it's very interesting. It's like contextualizing the activities of the Sangh Parivar. The Sangh Parivar is like the right wing institution, and it's an engagement and the Hindutva experiment within the broader Indian political and cultural landscape, and he ultimately paints a unique picture of the country. Okay, so the next book is something that I already have, and that is I Could Not Be Hindu, the story of a Dalit in the RSS, and I already have a physical copy of this book. The thing is that I'm looking forward to read this. I'm kind of glad that this got shortlisted. Also, this is a very high rating on Goodreads, and this was so basically in 1987, as the Ram Janmabhoomi movement gathers momentum, a 13-year-old from a village in Rajasthan joins the RSS. Despite his untouchable status, he quickly rises to the post of Karyavah. Ahead of demolition of Babri Masjid 1992, he becomes the district office chief of Bhilwara. Oh, he hates Muslims with a passion without having met one. He joins Karsevaks to Ayodhya. He mocks Mullah Yam Singh. He participates in riots. He goes to jail, and he's ready to die for the Hindu Rashtra. But something has changed. Something changes. And that's what this book is about. I'm super excited. Okay, cool. This is already in my bookshelf inventory. If you have not watched my what apps I use, then I mentioned this. So this is my bookshelf inventory. The next book is actually, so we have like 4 books to go because there were 12 books shortlisted. The next one is Nauroji, Pioneer of Indian Nationalism by Janyar Patel. So basically, this is like the definitive biography of Dadabhai Nauroji, the 19th century activist who founded the Indian National Congress and was the first British MP of Indian origin and inspired Gandhi and Nehru, which is very interesting. I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to read this book, but it has a good high rating. So I'm just going to keep it here, and if it gets to the shortlist, maybe I'll read it. And the next one is an interesting book, and that is Gandhi in the Gallery, The Art of Disobedience by Sumati Ramaswamy. And this is more to do with his disobedience movement and how he had this whole non-violent struggle, freedom struggle against the British, which is very interesting. And also people have good things to say about the book. And the next book is something that I've already booked. It's with Jatin from the Basement Bookstore, and that is The Coolies' Great War, Indian Labor in Global Conflict, Conflict 1914 to 1921, which actually talks about there were many Indian men in the First World War, from porters to stevedores and construction workers in the Coolie Corps, to those who maintained supply lines and removed the wounded from the battlefield. And Radhika Singha, she's the author of the book, if I did not mention it before, and she basically recovers the story of this unacknowledged service. Interesting. This is already there in my TBR. Like, I already have the book in Jaipur. I just need to get it shipped to me. So that's that. And the next book is one of the most controversial books of last year, 2020, and it's Jugalbandi, the BJP before Modi. So basically, this talks about how BJP was before our current Prime Minister Narendra Modi joined the party, and how things changed kind of because of him. So it's pretty interesting. And it talks about a lot of like other figures as well. I actually do not like have this book per se like booked, but I have been like toying with the idea of reading it ever since it's come out. But it was super expensive then, and I did not know if I want to like invest that much. And the book is by Vinay Sitapati, which is interesting. So yeah. So in spite of all the background noise, I really, really, really hope that you took something out of this video. Now, as for my reading plans, I will not be like reading the entire long list. No, I don't have the patience for it. But once the shortlist comes out, I may read it, but not the entire thing. Because when you read nonfiction, you need that kind of bandwidth and capacity to kind of like digest it, which I don't think I have. So, yeah. But that being said, yes, it's a very, very important prize that everyone should know about. And that's why this video has been made. Also, I put the timestamps in the description box because it's something that's very... important and you know, I really think that everyone should read at least 1 or 2 books from this list if you're like remotely close to like interested in Indian nonfiction. And I think for me, you know, this has to be the first one. Of course, I'm going to pick up is I Could Not Be Hindu. That's a very interesting book for sure. And also one more book that I will pick up soon if I get it on time is The Coolies War, which is historical fiction. But another thing that interests me that I did not know about is The Death Script and also Muscular India, because both of these like seem to be very, very interesting, especially about you know, the dreams and the aspirations of modern India. So yeah, interesting stuff. So yes, that's it for this video. And if you watched till this very end, please give me a book and a prize emoji and I'll be very happy. Thank you so much for watching this particular video. I will see you on my next, you know, I will be there over here to answer any of your questions. Or if you want to like buy any books, buddy read something with me, let me know. Because I think I'm going to be starting I Could Not Be Hindu soon along with my Booker Prize project. So yeah, that's that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Bye.